All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome back to week 5. I can't believe it's already week 5. It's gone by so fast, but that's how college football season works. But I'm kind of ticked off before I begin. I'll admit it. I don't play a lot of video games, but I still buy the Pokemon games. And my favorite thing about Pokemon games is to play it completely unspoiled, the new ones. I don't want to know who the new Pokemon are. I don't want to know anything. So it drives me nuts when I log on to YouTube to start this stream, and the first video recommended I see is one talking about a new Pokemon they announced. Like, come on. Anyway, that's my nerd moment of the night. So let's get started with week 5, and we got a Thursday night game. So Virginia is the king of not playing on Saturdays, apparently. But we got Virginia, who's a 4.5-point road dog at Miami. Number 40 versus number 31. The total is 62. Well, this week for spread bets, I'm keying off the random forest and combo. For moneyline bets, I'm keying off the neural network and combo. And then for totals, I'm queuing off the least squares, gradient boost, neural network, support vector, and combo. So that's how it's working this week. So not a lot of spread plays this week because even though the spread bets did do better last week, the keys are still tight there. There's more totals and money lines. So 5 of 6 are picking Miami here, and that makes sense considering how bad Virginia's defense has been playing. Money line is split, and over 5 of the 6 metrics do like the over, although neural network, which is one of the important ones, does not agree. So looks like there's not quite consensus there. And the nearest neighbors, I did fix this from last week. So right here, orange means over, blue means under, by the way. Teams similar to Virginia win about 40% of the time. So the difference between this and the K nearest neighbors is K nearest neighbors uses more than 30, and it also weights it. So like, for example, UMass Miami of Ohio would get more weight in the overall average than Cincinnati, South Florida. So that's really the main difference, but it should track pretty close. Like K nearest neighbors margin over here is 4.8. This is 3.5, so it's not going to be too off. And then the total for K nearest neighbors is 65.5. This is 66.4. So it's even though it's weighted, it doesn't affect it that much. Thank you, Matt Stansberry. I was about to do the same thing. All right. Yeah, it's one of those stupid trolls from a Sports Grid. All right, so moving on to our Friday games. The first game is a pretty uninspiring matchup. Houston barely escaped Navy, not a good Navy team the other night in Tulsa. I mean, they played better against Ohio State and whoever else, but this is still a team of also-rans in the AAC West. Tulsa's favored by 3.5, and the total is 56.5. Split on spreads, even Stevens, 3 and 3. Money line 5 of 6 going for Houston. Gradient boost disagrees, a tree-based model. And then over/under all 6 metrics, like the under 56.5 here. Number 68 for 74. K nearest neighbors, the team similar to Houston, winning about 36.7% of the time by an average of 3.6, and the average total is 52.4. All right, moving on to a semi-rivalry game. I'm sure one of these teams views it as a rivalry game more than the other, similar to the TCU-SMU dynamic. And that's BYU and Utah State. So Utah State, their clock struck midnight for them the other night. I mean, they had gotten off to a pretty good start for the year, upsetting Air Force and Washington State, but then they finally get blown out by Boise State, which this model predicted. We weren't surprised. Although I think Utah State's better than 115. Their hands full with BYU, who's at 37th. They might be better than that. The one thing I've noticed about BYU is just how physical they are. You notice that. So they might not be the most athletic, but they make it up with their physicalness. But anyway, this is all BYU. All 6 metrics like BYU -9. 4 or 6 like the over, and the other 2 are even at right at 62.5. So it looks like the total might be pretty sharp. K nearest neighbors, only a 10% chance for Utah State. Average margin is 19.2. Right, yeah. Thomas Dunlap, they have no lives, that they troll my stream. That's, when I stream past midnight for college football and there's only like 15 people still watching, the dedicated viewers, they come in and troll this channel. They're like, obviously Sports Grid isn't doing very good because they have plenty of time to mess with this channel. All right. Moving on to another Friday night game, which is a better one. This is turned into an interesting matchup, and that is Iowa and Maryland. Iowa's a 3.5-point favorite, 47.5. I've said on the stream I'm not a believer in Maryland. I don't think they're that good. But Iowa, they're only 25 in my model, despite I think being ranked in the top 5 in the AP. So that's somewhere I disagree. Total is only 47.5. And 5 of the 6 like Maryland here. Only gradient boost is a disagreeer. All 6 like Maryland at plus 155 if you want to do that. And then we're split on total. So the total looks pretty sharp. The biggest difference is neural network at 2.9 points off the total. Average total over here at K-nearest neighbors 48.3. That's pretty close. And it's pretty split. Actually, K-nearest neighbors likes Maryland 56.7% of the time. But when you look at the weighted one, it's Iowa 51.3. And then, yeah, the average, very close. Average margin is Maryland by 1. So the second most similar matchup involves Iowa, 2018, a 6-point loss at Penn State. All right, let's move on to the Saturday games, starting with the worst games first, and then we'll progress to the better ones. We got Toledo and UMass, the hapless UMass Minutemen, and Toledo, who's been disappointing after the near Notre Dame upset. Maybe that loss broke them, but this is number 65 versus the worst team in my model, 130, UMass. Although I think they're, I don't know. After UConn almost beat Wyoming last week, I would say UMass is the rightful owner of the worst team in the country. Total's 27, or total's 58.5. Spread is 27 in favor of Toledo. Only the K-nearest neighbors likes UMass on the spread. No one likes UMass on the money line, and this is unanimous under 58.5. Hey, at least Illinois, Wisconsin in 2019. I remember that game. That's the only one similar that likes UMass to win. But otherwise, the average margin is Toledo by 24.7 and a total of 51.3. So if you like the under, this might be for you. All right, moving on to a really crappy matchup. If I can click on the right thing. We got New Mexico State and San Jose State. San Jose State favored by 28, 51.5. This is number 82 versus the second worst team in this model, New Mexico State. However, 5 of the 6 do like New Mexico State. However, the one metric I'm keying off of this week, besides the combo random forest, like San Jose State there, money line's too big to matter, and we're split on over and under. So it looks like that over-under is pretty sharp. One matchup favors New Mexico State here, and that was 2016 Texas State and Ohio. Apart from that, San Jose State by an average of 27.4. Total, 58.4. All right, moving on to one disappointing team against another team still trying to, find its way. And I say Air Force is disappointing because they should be 4-0, let's face it. They blew that Utah State game. But they're playing in Albuquerque at New Mexico. Their Air Force is favored by 10.5. Total's 45.5. Number 66 versus 114. Unanimous Air Force here. All 6 metrics like them against the spread. And on money line, if you want to lay the 417, I don't know, money line parlay. And then all 6 metrics like the over pretty heavy. 45.5, which makes sense considering Air Force's defense. Although, New Mexico sees a triple option every year, so we'll see. But the most similar matchup, Temple and SMU in 2015 at a total of 100. New Mexico's given about a 1 in 6 chance here on the K-nearest neighbors, but otherwise Air Force wins by an average of 16 with a total of 57.8. All right. This would have been a really good matchup if one of the teams could have beaten Nebraska, but they didn't. But otherwise, Western Michigan and Buffalo. This is still a good MAC matchup, though. I mean, this is number 38, Western Michigan versus 87. 87 is still good for a MAC team, but Western is favored by 6.5. The total is 59. However, all 6 metrics like Buffalo to cover. We're split on the money line and split on totals. So total looks pretty sharp, but Buffalo looks to be this consensus spread play here. Western Michigan, number 17 offense. They're a good offense. They did beat Pitt. K-nearest neighbors, Western Michigan teams win about 60% of the time by an average of 4.1. Average total is 58.9, which is right on the dot of the actual total. All right, 2 teams with disappointing home losses to Conference USA teams last week. We got Memphis going to, my bad. Never mind, I thought it was Memphis and Tulane, but it's actually Memphis and Temple, my bad. Memphis lost to UT San Antonio after getting out to a 21-0 lead at home, and Temple has just been bad this year. I mean, bad. But Memphis, it looks like they're not as good as they've been. I mean, number 78 versus 124. Favored by 11.5, total 61. So all 6 metrics do like Memphis here against the spread. Slight K in nearest neighbors, Temple plus 340, otherwise Memphis as well. And all but the gradient boost, which is a selector this week, going under 61. Teams similar to Memphis win an average of 70% of the time by an average of 12.3, and the average total is 58.4. All right, best team in the league versus, actually, never mind. Troy lost to our friends Louisiana Monroe last week. So maybe Louisiana Monroe is not the worst team in the Sun Belt, but Coastal Carolina is probably the best team. I mean, they're up to number 22 in my model. ULM up to 118 after the win over Troy. Coastal's favored by almost 5 touchdowns, and the total is 57. However, all 6 metrics like ULM to cover that 34.5. So maybe they'll build on that win against Troy. Money line's too big to matter. And then we got over and under. 5 of the 6 like over, but gradient boost the selector does like the under here. K nearest neighbors, not one matchup favors ULM. Coastal team similar to Coastal, winning by an average of 30. Total is 57.5, so pretty sharp. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that for basketball. I'd have to like triple what I did to match all the colors. But I know all the colors by heart, so it wasn't too bad. All right. By the way, I ate some sunflower seeds, a lot of salt, so I'm bloated and thirsty. Like, I'm probably going to weigh 10 pounds more than this morning just because of that sodium. Did you know a bag of sunflower seeds has like 5 grams of sodium in it? Anyway, back on topic. This matchup, I don't know. I mean, Eastern Michigan has some momentum after beating Texas State by 40, you got to admit. But Northern Illinois, outside of that win over Georgia Tech, they've been pretty bad. Eastern's a 2-point road dog in DeKalb, and the total 63. All 6 metrics like Eastern Michigan to cover and win at plus 105, and all 6 metrics like over 63. K nearest neighbors 80% for Eastern Michigan and by an average of 7.2, and the total is 69.5. So if you like the over, this is your game. This is number 89 versus 116. All right, maybe the 2 worst teams in the MAC. This probably should have gone first, but you know what I do is I assign all the matchups to tiers, and then I just sort it by that, so I don't rank all the matchups individually. So we got Ohio and Akron. Ohio looking for their first win. Akron, I think they beat a FCS team already, but anyway, Ohio's favored by 9.5. The total is 54.5. This is number 101 versus the 3rd worst team in the model, 128. Yep, Ranch is one of the flavors I got. All 6 measures like Ohio to cover, and on the money line if you want to lay the 357, but we're split on totals, although all 4 metrics like the under here are the selectors, so this is an under lean. And then K nearest neighbors, 6 and 7 chance Ohio wins by an average of 14.4. The total is 54.1. So the 4 selectors, though, like under. And when you combine them all, 49.8, that's 5 points under the total. All right, another average MAC game. We got Central Michigan going to Oxford, Ohio to play Miami. Maction. This is a pretty close spread. Central Michigan's getting a point, but the money line's minus 110. Total's 56. All 6 metrics like Miami of Ohio here, and naturally, although the one selector picking Central Michigan on the money line is the neural network, which is the most accurate, and then pretty heavy unanimous under 56 here. I mean, the combo has it at 41.3. That's nearly 15 points under. Team number 84 versus 86. 40% K nearest neighbors Central Michigan, but Miami is winning by an average of 5.2, and the total is 42.9. So this is a pretty unanimous underplay here. I wonder why my model's so off. Okay. Moving on. So a lot of people are like, oh, Tulane, so good. They played Oklahoma close and scored against Ole Miss, but then they lose at home at UAB. So maybe they're not that good. Maybe Oklahoma's just not very good. But anyway, this is team number 69 versus 95. Tulane's a 4-point road dog in Greenville, and the total is 64.5. All 6 selectors do like Eastern here, and 5 of the 6 on the money line at plus 160 if that's your thing, and over, unanimous, all 6. Team similar to Tulane, 70% of the time. 30 by an average of 5 points, and the total is 67.8. So that's actually over. Yeah, that's over. I was looking at the wrong number. Okay, this matchup has a special place in my heart for the veterans of this channel, Florida International, Florida Atlantic. This was the matchup that I did that $500 bet on 2 years ago. I bet on Florida Atlantic minus 9.5 or 10.5 or something like that, and won $500. They won by 20 or 30. It was never really that close. I mean, I knew it was a winner in the third quarter. But this is number 90 versus 106. Oh, look at that spread, 10.5, the same number I picked 2 years ago. All right, total's 51.5. And 5 of 6 do like Florida International this time. K nearest neighbors is even Stevens. 5 of the 6 metrics like Florida International at plus 320. And this is a unanimous under all 6. Teams similar to FIU, winning about 20% of the time, losing by an average of 11.2, average total of 48.9. Have you ever considered regressing to market? No, I feel like that would probably defeat the purpose. All right, one team with a lot of momentum against one team that's just totally flopped in its 3 opportunities against Power 5 teams. And it's Bowling Green. How about them against Kent State? This is a rivalry game. Or wait, no, Kent State and Akron and Bowling Green and Toledo are rivals. My bad. But anyway, Kent State favored by 17 at home. So even though Bowling Green beat Minnesota, they're not getting a lot of respect. Total's 56. This is number 96. And despite the win at Minnesota, Bowling Green is still a bottom 5 team in my model. All 6 metrics do like Kent State against the spread. And on the money line, if you want to lay the 833. Yeah, Florida International, Florida Atlantic was the $500 bet on November 9th, 2019. And then all of them like the over 56. Teams similar to Bowling Green, unfortunately, only 3.3% chance by an average of 28 points. Wow. Expecting this one to be a blowout, and 59.6 is the total. Yeah, I am using 2 keys for moneyline, but one of them is combo, which is right here. Combo's over here. So that's why. All right. Another matchup of teams that have been kind of disappointing. We got Arkansas State and Georgia Southern. Arkansas State 2-point dog in Jonesboro, 65 is the total. All 6 selectors do like Georgia Southern at -2, and on the money line at 120. 5 of the 6 do like the under, but Gradient Boost, which is a selector, likes the over. This is number 100 versus 117. 13.3% chance for Arkansas State, according to the K nearest neighbors. Although the most similar matchup, Colorado-Nebraska 2018, does like the team similar to Arkansas State. Team similar to Georgia Southern by an average of 14.5. Total 62.7. Okay, one of my most hated teams at the moment going against a very bad team. We got SMU and USF. Despite the win against TCU, SMU has not been able to crack the top 50 in my model, and USF is just wasting away at 111. USF's not a good team, guys. SMU is favored by 20.5. The total is 68. However, all 6 metrics do like South Florida to cover. None of them like South Carolina at plus 830, though. And 5 of 6 like under 68, although the Gradient Boost disagrees. Teams similar to South Florida getting about a 1 in 16 chance, and that was Bowling Green over Miami, Ohio in 2017, and North Carolina over Florida State in 2016. Average total 64.8 and average SMU margin 19.4 on the K nearest neighbors. I don't like SMU, guys. Talked a lot of crap. They backed it up, yeah, but you got to have some sportsmanship. The number 21 team in my model, Army, going up against a disappointing Ball State. Unable to capitalize on their momentum from last year. Despite the wide gap, there's still 2 metrics that like Ball State here, although the selector random forest likes Army. And also all 6 likes Army at -312. And then all 6 like the over, 47.5. About a 3 in 4 chance for Army on the KNN by an average of 8.2, and the total is 51.7. Okay, these 2 teams have momentum for different reasons. We got UNLV going down to San Antonio to play UTSA. UTSA, number 79 versus 96 UNLV. So UNLV, good game against Fresno State, just couldn't finish. San Antonio, road win at Memphis, road win at Illinois. I think they're going to go undefeated, guys. Spread's 21 in favor of UTSA, totals 56, but overwhelming. I only have UTSA winning by about 10. So a lot of value here for UNLV. All 6 selectors like the ATS for UNLV, just like last week with Fresno State, and they came through for us. If you want to play plus 840 at UNLV, be my guest. And all 6 like the over 56 as well. The KNN gives UNLV about a 1 in 4 chance here. And average margin's only 8.9, average total 56.9. What criteria do I assign for similar teams? I think I use 8 different variables and then run the K nearest neighbors. They're all main, none of the secondary stats, so it's all mains. So I want to say I K nearest neighbors off of drive efficiency, points per play, success rate, and field position for offense, defense, and then pace, because you need pace in there for total. So it's 9 stats. I was originally doing it with 5, but I found out that adding 9 was more accurate. All right. Moving on. One team that's just in total disarray right now against another that is not good, and that's Southern Miss and Rice. Southern Miss only a 2.5-point road dog going to Houston. The total's 4.5. All 6 selectors like Rice at -2.5 and at -132 on the money line. All 6 like this going over 44.5. That is a low total, but this is number 99 versus 122. Southern Miss, man, that program has totally fallen off the map. KNN gives Southern Miss about a 1 in 6 chance. Average margins is 9.5 and total is 46.7. Although the most similar, Kentucky over Florida in 2018, that favors the Golden Eagles. Okay, Marshall at Middle Tennessee. Marshall's favored by 10. The total is 65.5. This is number 72 versus 119. We're split on ATS, although the Random Forest does like Marshall. Split on money line. And over and under, 5 of the 6 like under, but Gradient Booster disagrees. Marshall's given about a 6 and 7 chance on the K nearest neighbors by an average of 15 points, a total 63.7. I don't know what to think. Marshall's a popular expansion candidate for some of those lower leagues right now. Oh, man, we got a bad matchup coming up. Uconn and Vanderbilt. Ugh. You know, what these two teams have in common, they both lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament as 4 seeds in 2008 in Tampa. Trivia. But the spread is only 14.5 in favor of Vanderbilt. The total is 51.5. However, all 6 metrics like Vanderbilt, it's not really close. All 6 like the over 51.5. This is number 108 versus 127, so the 4th worst team. Not one K nearest neighbors matchup favors Uconn here. Average is 26.7. Total is 60.6. I do not pull all this data manually. It's mostly automated. Okay. Upstart. Is South Alabama an upstart team? I think they're still undefeated, right? But anyway, they're playing Louisiana, one of the preseason favorites in the Sun Belt. Number 56 versus 105. The Cajuns are favored by 12.5. They're going to go to Mobile as a pretty decent favorite, and the total is 51.5. All 6 selectors like USA here, including the lone moneyline selector. Neural Network also likes them at plus 360, but this is also unanimous overplay of 51.5. KNN gives USA about a 1 in 16 chance. Average margin is 10.4 and totals 51.8. It was some great trivia, right? I just remember both of those teams losing on Friday, March 22nd, 2008, as 4 seeds in Tampa. It was on a Friday. San Diego beat Uconn in overtime. I had a player from my high school play for that San Diego team. And then Vanderbilt got the crap beaten out of them by Siena a couple hours later. Yep. Oh, man, this is a really bad matchup I'm about to cover. Oof. I feel for the people that watch this one. I can't even find it on here. It's not even a part of this. That's weird. Oh, you know why it's not a part of this? I forgot to update the slide. I don't have the slicer. Hold on. I need the slicer to cover everything. I bet it'll work now. There we go. All right, Old Dominion and UTEP. Hold on, I'm going to select Old Dominion. I need to select the road team for the K nearest neighbors to work right. All right. Old Dominion is a 5.5 dog in El Paso. The total is 50. Number 120 versus 125, so it's a bottom 10 matchup. 5 of the 6 selectors like Old Dominion here. We're split on the money line, although the neural network does like Old Dominion. All 6 metrics like this going over the 62.1. Old Dominion getting about a 1 in 5 chance, and average margin is 9 and 57.1 on the KNN. Ugh, not a very good matchup. Okay. We might have the Mountain West favorite having to go to the island. Weird things happen on the island, but this is a different year. Hawaii has no fans. There's no fans allowed. Fresno State's favored by 10. This is number 55 versus double up 110. Split on the spread, split on money line, and unanimous under. Unanimous under, 66.5. The KNN gives Hawaii about a 1 in 4 chance. The average margin is 9.4. Average total is 64.1. Any Hawaii in here? Nope, no Fresno State either. The most similar matchup, Toledo and Arkansas State in 2016, where the team similar to Fresno State won by 21. Sounds about right. Okay, moving on to a Pac-12 matchup. 2 teams that have not gotten off to good starts. Got Washington State and Cal. I remember when didn't game day show up to this game once, so I mean this has been a good matchup in the past, but Cal is a 7.5 point favorite. 52 is the total. Number 70 versus 93. We are split on the spread, split on money line, split on over and under. So it looks like things are pretty sharp. KNN gives Washington State about a 1 in 4 chance. Average margin is 8, and the total is 48. Things are pretty sharp here. I don't see any angles. All right, a Big Ten West matchup against a team coming off a humiliating loss against another that came off a very ugly win. We got Minnesota and Purdue. Boilermakers favored by 2.5. Total's 47.5. This is very even in rank. Minnesota 58, Purdue 59. 5 of 6 metrics like Purdue. The support vector machine disagrees. Same with money line. And over and under, all 6 like the over 47.5 here. About a 30% chance for teams similar to Minnesota. Average margin is 8.3, and the total is 49.3. So the K nearest neighbors at least likes Purdue a lot. Nope, I don't even think Hawaii is playing in their own stadium. Like, they won't even let family members show up. Yeah, so I think that's pretty dumb. Okay, Charlotte's getting another crack at a power team against Illinois that's already lost to a Conference USA team this year. Number 91 versus 113. The Illini favored by 11. The total's 55. 5 of the 6 like Charlotte over there. Split on money line, although the neural network does like Charlotte 325, which is a selector. Minnesota lost as a 30.5 favorite to Bowling Green last week. And then we're split on over and under. About a 1 in 3 chance according to KNN for UNC. Charlotte. Margin is 5.1. Total is 60.4. Okay, 2 more teams just unable to get it going this year. People thought USC might have had it figured out after Washington State, and then they get blown out at home by Oregon State, and then Colorado just can't score. Well, Colorado's still ranked higher, number 73 versus 83. Can you imagine that? USC number 83? That is just sad. But they're favored by 7. The total is 51. Unanimous Colorado on the money line as well, plus 225, and unanimous over 51. Offense, USC. Defense, Colorado. About a 63.3% chance for teams similar to USC over here. Margin's only 3.1, and the total is 58.7, so over. All right. 2 teams with momentum. I'm sure Oregon State's feeling good about themselves right now, and they're going to be playing Washington. That might, maybe think they have the ship righted to back-to-back wins. Number 29 versus 61, the spread. Washington is a dog, and the total is 56, so you don't see that very often. But all 6 metrics do like Washington here. On the money line at plus 110 as well. 5 of 6 like this going over. The gradient boost disagrees. 50-50 on the K nearest neighbors, so this is a coin flip. Coin flip, but the total is 61.3. That's pretty heavy over. All right, bottom feeders in the SEC East. Maybe not, but they're definitely in the lower tier. We got Tennessee and Missouri. Tennessee's a 3-point dog, total 65. This is number 71 versus 73. All 6 selectors do like Tennessee at +3 and on the money line at +130. Split on over and under. This is another 50-50 K&N matchup, and total is 71.3. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, bottom feeders. This is one of those games where, like, win to be bowl eligible, lose you probably won't be, I'm guessing. But that's why the SEC plays 4 conference games and only, or 4 non-conference games and only 8 conference games. It means more bowl eligible team, less losses within teams in the conference. All right, one team that had their momentum squashed, and another team that has a lot of momentum right now based on how they played the last 2 weeks. We got Pitt at Georgia Tech. Similar colors. There's really not much distinction here. I want to say Pitt's shade of gold has a little bit more green in it, and Georgia Tech's shade of gold is a little bit more dull, but I don't know. Anyway, Pitt's a 3.5-point favorite in Atlanta. The total is 59. But Georgia Tech, number 32 in my model. They've gone up thanks to their defense. I mean, shut down Clemson, shut down North Carolina. They've come a long way since the Northern Illinois season opening loss. Pitt is number 60 in my model. So it's no surprise that this is a unanimous Georgia Tech spread and money line lean and under 59. K-nearest neighbors, the team similar to Pitt, only a 1 in 6 chance. Average margin is 9.2. The total is 52. I don't know. My model's probably wrong there, but, you know, it is what it is. All right, major rivalry. I can't wait. This is going to be so much fun. Major rivalry matchup. You know, you're going to have the crowd's going to be hopping, you know. Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium or at the Dean Dome. Oh, wait, never mind. It's not basketball season yet, but we got Duke and North Carolina. Number 13, despite the 2 losses, North Carolina is still number 13 because their offense is ranked number 3 against team number 97, but they have momentum after beating Northwestern and Kansas. UNC favored by 19. The total is 70.5. All 6 selectors like UNC a lot, and 5 of 6 do like the over, and Random Forest is tied, which is not a selector. Not one team similar to Duke wins over here. The average margin is 25.8, and the total is 72.6. So over. If you like points, I'm sure UNC won't have any problem scoring here, unlike they did against Georgia Tech. Okay. 2 teams that are fighting for position. You know, this is a wide open ACC division that these 2 teams are in. And neither of the teams have lost yet, I don't think, in the ACC, and that's Wake and Louisville. Wake is a top 25 team now. Not quite my model. They're 27 against number 48, Louisville. Wake's a 6.5-point home favorite, and the total is 62. We are split, though, on ATS, and split on money line as well, but this is a unanimous underplay at under 62. Wake's offense has been pretty good this year, and their defense isn't bad either. Well-coached team. They might not have the talent, but they're well-coached. K-nearest neighbors, 63.3% win for Wake by an average of 3.5, and the total is 58.5. All right. 2 teams that had their chances to upset. Appalachian State blew it late against Miami, and Georgia State blew it late against Auburn. That 4th down play was something else. That beat Georgia State the other day. But this is number 44 versus 81. App is a 10-point favorite going to Atlanta, and the total is 55. 5 of 6 do like Georgia State, including the Random Forest selector. 5 of 6 on the money line at plus 310 as well, and unanimous under. Team similar to Appalachian State, 56.7% by a margin of 2.4, and 46.7 is the average total. Okay, 2 hapless teams, although one of the team has momentum because they beat a not-so-bad Liberty team. But can Florida State win a game at all this year? That's the question. Well, they're favored by 4.5 here. The total is 52. Number 80 versus 94. 2 teams that have fallen off the map. 5 of 6 do like Florida State to cover, not just get their first win, but cover. We're split over here, although Neural Network, one of the selectors, does like Syracuse at plus 165. We're also split on over and under. The team similar to Syracuse getting about a 1 in 7 chance. Margin is -12 for them, and 52 is the total. Florida State, man, that program in the dumps. All right, Troy and South Carolina. You know, before the season, I would have say, hey, Troy has a chance here, but after that Louisiana-Monroe loss, probably not. But number 85 versus 98. South Carolina only favored by 7, and the total is small at 43.5. We're split on the spread, although the Random Forest selector does like Troy. Split on money line, although the neural network selector does like Troy as well. And we're split on over and under. The selectors are split there. The team similar to Troy are given about a 1 in 4 chance here. Our average margin is 8.7 and the total 44.8 on the nearest neighbors graph. Okay, I remember when this matchup might have had some hype, but one of the teams have fallen off the map, and the other team seems to be a shell of their former self. We got UCF going up to Annapolis to play Navy. Number 39 versus 123, so Navy has fallen. UCF 16.5 favorite, the total is 53. 5 of 6 do like UCF on the spread, and money line if you want to lay the 769, and all 6 like the over. About a 1 in 6 chance for teams similar to Navy, and the team similar to UCF, winning by an average of 14.4 with a total of 56.9. Okay, this is kind of an interesting matchup, Liberty and UAB. Although Liberty losing to Syracuse, the blooms off their rose. But still, number 43 versus 53. It's not like these teams are terrible. UAB is only favored by 1.5. The total is 59.5, or 49.5, my bad. All 6 selectors do like UAB here. And although the one selector that likes Liberty on the money line is the neural network, which is the selector of the week. And we are split on over and under. Teams similar to Liberty getting about a 1 in 6 chance here by an average margin of 10.2. Total is 51.8. That looks pretty sharp. Total. All right. This team's getting another crack at a Big Ten team after nearly upsetting last week. Back-to-back Big Ten matchups. That's Western Kentucky going to Michigan State after their overtime win at Nebraska. Michigan State favored by 10.5. The total is 63. Number 57, so Michigan State still outside the top 50 against number 109. However, all 6 selectors do like Michigan State here. Money line's probably too big to matter. And then all 6 selectors like the under 63. However, the team's similar to Western Kentucky getting about a 1 in 4 chance, but they lose by an average of 15.1. Total is 55.2. I remember when this used to be a really big basketball matchup. It seems like it'd always be the big Monday matchup of whenever it happened. And that is Kansas and Iowa State. Number 20 versus 107. Kansas is getting 34 points, and the total is 58. 5 of 6 do like Kansas. The gradient boost disagrees. But none of the selectors like Kansas on that plus 2,500. Almost unanimous on under, but support vector is slightly outside. Not one similar team to Kansas is a winner here. And you look at that most similar matchup, Wisconsin and Central Michigan in 2019, 61-0. But overall, the average margin is 34.3 on the KNN graph, which is pretty close to the spread of 34. Yeah, the ranks are my rankings. And total 55, which is also very close. 3 points under the total 58. But Iowa State has fallen off the map in basketball, so it's no longer a good basketball game. All right, I remember this matchup 11 years ago was a very big deal because it sent my TCU team to the Rose Bowl. And this could be a preview of the Mountain West Championship game. Very well could be, but the number 24 team versus 49. Fresno State might have something to say about that, but I think Nevada has to go to Fresno State. But Boise State 6.5 home favorite and 48.5. 5 of the 6 like Boise State, including the selector. If you like the K nearest neighbors model for money lines, which is not a selector this week, plus 195 for Nevada, but otherwise Boise State at minus 244. Unanimous under 58.5. Team similar to Nevada getting about a 1 in 4 chance. Average margin is 6.4 and the total is 49.8, so it should be low scoring. All right. One of these teams got destroyed last week, and the other team, heartbreaking loss, just couldn't get anything going in the passing game. We got Texas Tech and West Virginia. West Virginia is favored by 7 in Morgantown. The total is 56. This is number 41 versus 76. Unanimous West Virginia here on the spread and money line if you want to lay the 286. Unanimous over 56. The team similar to Texas Tech, 13.3% win chance. Texas Tech offense wasn't bad against Texas, just that defense with 70 points. The team similar to Tech, though, losing by an average of 13.2, and the total is 57.3. All right. Heartbreak City. I call Louisiana Tech Heartbreak City because they've had 2 heartbreaking losses this year, and then North Carolina State established themselves in their ACC division, beating Clemson in overtime last week. This is a trap game, you know. I'm not saying NC State's going to lose, but, you know, hard to come off that Clemson win and then get up for Louisiana Tech. 19.5 favorite. The total is 55. Split on spread, although the random 4 selector does like NC State. Split on money line and split on the total. So this is a pretty sharp line. Number 30 versus 103. The team's similar to Louisiana Tech. 13.3. Look at that most similar matchup. 49-10. I would not be surprised if that happens. But the team's similar to NC State overall. 18.7 margin. 51.8 is the total. All right. Can Clemson rebound? Boston College coming off a win over Missouri. Clemson, that offense is just bad. Bad. The defense good, offense bad. But they're still number 3 in my model. Boston College 67. Clemson's a 16-point favorite over BC. Total is 46.5. And unanimous Clemson lean over here. If you really want to lay the 7-14, go ahead. But a unanimous over as well, which is a lot. Asking a lot for that Clemson offense. Can they get it going? Not one matchup over here likes Boston College to win. Average margin is 22.5. Total is 51.7. Most similar matchup, Clemson and Texas A&M in 2019. So a matchup featuring Clemson. All right, moving on. Seems like Nebraska always loses this game, but we got Northwestern, who has been awful so far this year, going to Nebraska. Nebraska coming off that heartbreaking overtime loss, number 50 in the model versus number 64. Nebraska favored by 10.5, and the total is 50. Unanimous Northwestern lean on the spread. The neural network selector really likes him in the money line at plus 320, and unanimous under 50. Team similar to Northwestern, 1 in 6 chance. Average margin is 10.3, and 49.6 is the total. That's pretty close to the actual total of 50. Big combo and small combo, I'm not quite sure what that means. All right, this is actually kind of an interesting matchup. Normally a layup game, but Rutgers is playing a lot better. Only lost at Michigan by 7. Greg Schiano has that program playing a lot better. They're up to number 42 in the model. Ohio State to number 4. They're favored by 15.5. The total is 57. Let's see. I mean, unanimous Rutgers lean here on the spread. Unanimous Rutgers on the money line at 495 if you want to play it. But we're split on the total of 57. It's pretty close. Rutgers getting about over a 1 in 4 chance here to win in the most similar matchup, Toledo beating BYU in 2019. Favors Rutgers. 2 of the top 3. Look at that, Purdue over Nebraska in 2015. But the average margin on the KNN is 9.5. And the total is 60.4. So we'll see. I'm actually interested in that game. All right, I remember when this used to be the Pac-12 game of the year. Not quite so much anymore because one of the programs have fallen off, but we got Oregon and Stanford. Spread is 8. The total is 57.5. We got number 16. So Oregon, not a top 5 team in my model like they're on the AP poll, against number 54. We are split on the spread, but the selector likes Stanford at plus 8. Split on the money line, but the selector likes Stanford at plus 260, and unanimous under 57.5, which these Oregon-Stanford games tend to do. 50-50, even Stevens on the KNN in terms of win percentage. Even Stevens. But the teams similar to Oregon do have a higher margin, and 57 is the total, which is pretty close to the actual total of 57.5. So I don't see a lot of value here, guys. Maybe on the under. Okay. Florida going on the road to play Kentucky. I remember when Kentucky won this game in 2018 when I was living in Louisville, and it was the biggest deal in the world for UK fans because they hadn't beaten Florida in like 40 years. But Florida, number 5 versus number 62, going on the road as an 8.5-point favorite. Total is 55. Split on the spread, split on the money line. although the neural network selector does like Florida at minus 333. And 5 of 6, including all 4 selectors, like under 55. Kentucky's going to have to play a hell of a game. 60% for the team similar to Florida. Average margin is 8.1, so that's pretty sharp. Total 56.9. The most similar matchup, Minnesota over Oregon State in 2017. 34-point margin in that one. Total 62. All right. Moving on. 2 teams coming off disappointing conference losses, so I'm not sold on this Mississippi State team, number 11 versus 36. A&M's only favored by 7, mainly because their offense is so bad. The total's only 46. Unanimous A&M over here, although the support vector is tied, so not one likes Mississippi State. Nothing's on the money line, and 5 of 6 do like the under, but the gradient boost selector does not. So I don't really see any angles in this game. 1 in 5 chance for the team similar to Mississippi State. Average margin's 11, but Mike Leach going back to A&M for the first time in a while. Total is only 40.6, so probably not a lot of points are going to be scored in this one. All right, I know a lot about this matchup. We have their number. I'm not going to lie. We have their number, but after what I saw from TCU, if you want to know my thoughts about the TCU loss to SMU, watch the beginning of my live stream this past Saturday. I probably spent the first 20 minutes going on a rant. But first, let's go through the numbers. Texas, number 9. TCU dropped all the way to 51 in my model after the SMU loss. Texas only favored by 5, though. I was honestly surprised. I thought it'd be more than that, although we were favored in my model until the SMU loss. Total 65.5. But unanimous Texas here. Unanimous Texas at minus 217. Unanimous over, which makes sense. TCU's defensive line the other day was awful. Awful. The worst defensive line play I've seen. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not embellishing. Worst defensive line play I have seen out of TCU ever. And I've been watching their games since I was like 5. I have never seen their defensive line get destroyed like SMU destroyed them. It was bad. But, however, we were missing 2 all-conference defensive linemen in that game. But the backups just couldn't produce. And I know Coach Patterson was saying one of them is probably going to play against Texas this week, which is a big deal because we really need both of them. 2 all Big 12, and also an all Big 12 corner was out as well. But anyway, I'm surprised the line's only 5. I am, after how we played against SMU. Although the most similar matchup over here on the KNN graph is minus 3 in favor of TCU. So about a 30% chance. But we do have Texas' number. 7 out of the last 9 we've beaten them. But average margin is 9.1, total 65.7, right in line with the 65.5. Differentiate between the info and combo table from B to G and then from I to M. Oh, yeah. These are values, and these are actuals. So this is how far off the spread they are, and I should probably bold this because I'm using combo, I think, in all of them. Yeah, so I should probably color that in. But these are values just like these are. All right, moving on. Disappointing team versus upstart team. Indiana almost lost to Western Kentucky last week against Penn State. That's a strong 4-0 so far. However, my model's not a believer. I only have Penn State at 28 against 34 Indiana. Penn State favored by 12. The total is 53.5. Unanimous Indiana over here. Unanimous Indiana on the money line. And unanimous under. So I guess my model this is more my model not being a believer in Penn State than being a believer in Indiana. But the team's similar to Indiana, 43.3%, including the top 3 matchups. Average margin's only 0.3, and 47.7 is the total. So pretty heavy under. Not a lot of orange over here. All right, moving on. The bloom's probably off the rose on this matchup a little bit because of how Auburn has played the last 2 weeks. Number 10 versus 45. So Auburn should have lost to Georgia State, guys. The refs screwed Georgia State pretty bad. LSU favored by 3.5. The total is 55. Unanimous LSU on the spread. Unanimous LSU on the money line at 175. And split on over and under. 1 in 6 chance for the team similar to Auburn. The top 4 were all, or the top 3 are all pretty lopsided in favor of LSU. Average margin's 14.1, average total is 57.3. All right, this might decide the Pac-12 South, guys. Pac-12 South, this is probably going to decide it. Arizona State and UCLA, number 12 versus 17. Arizona State 3.5-point dog at the Rose Bowl, and 55.5 is a total. Unanimous Arizona State spread. Unanimous Arizona State money line at plus 140. Unanimous over 55.5. 2 good offenses, 2 average defenses. 50-50 even Stevens on the K-nearest neighbors chart. And 1.1 average margin for the team similar to Arizona State. The most similar, Coastal Carolina over Kansas in 2019, 12-7. But after that, though, a lot more orange, and the total is 62.5, so 7 points over. And remember, the similar matchups is based on expectation and not so similar expectations and not like, okay, Coastal Carolina similar to Arizona State, Kansas similar to UCLA. No, it's based on the combined expectation of the 2 teams. All right, moving on. All right, can Oklahoma get the Kansas State monkey off their back? 2 losses in a row to Kansas State. Will it be 3rd year in a row? It could happen based on how Oklahoma's offense has been playing so far. Very disappointing. Still number 14 in the model, gets number 26. Kansas State coming off the blowout loss to Oklahoma State. I was very surprised at that based on how Oklahoma State has been playing very well, but maybe they're figured things out. But anyway, 10.5 and 52.5. This is my biggest money line hit. I had Kansas State last year at plus 1,400. It was my biggest money line hit in the past 3 years, I want to say. But anyway, Kansas State, unanimous on the spread, unanimous on the money line, including the nearest, or the ANN at plus 325. 5-6 like over here, only K nearest neighbors disagrees. All 4 selectors like the over. Actually, Kansas State, the most similar, 53.3%, although the top 3 are all Oklahoma. Colorado State, New Mexico in 2015 is the most similar in terms of expectation. Average margin is 2.3 for Oklahoma, and 50.5 is the total. All right, 5 matchups left. And we got 2 undefeated Big 12 teams jockeying for position. Baylor and Oklahoma State. I'm not a believer in Baylor. I'm not. Yeah, they beat Iowa State, but that's all they've done this year. Oklahoma State has done more. Number 19 versus 33. Oklahoma State only favored by 3.5. The total is 47.5. 5-6 metrics like Oklahoma State here, including the random forest selector. We're split on the money line and split on total. So not a lot of angles here. Most similar matchup was 2019 Wyoming and Tulsa, where Tulsa won 24-21. Team similar to Baylor, 36.7% chance. Average margin is 1.3, and the total is 50.7. So the K nearest neighbor is more of a believer than any of the other models in Baylor. But although I said this 2 years ago and they went and won this game, Baylor did, so maybe they do have things figured out. All right, another team trying to get the monkey off their back. It seems like every time Michigan goes to Madison to play Wisconsin, they get destroyed. Can they get that monkey off their back? Because I have Michigan as a Big Ten favorite right now, guys. I do. Big Ten favorite. Number 6 versus 15. Michigan is a 2.5 dog. So despite Wisconsin's 2 losses, Michigan is a dog. Total's 43.5. And we're split on the spread. The random forest selector does like Wisconsin at minus 3.5. Split on the money line, although the neural network selector does like Michigan at plus 105. And we are splitsville on over under. So a lot of splits, pretty sharp. Michigan, the KNN graph, only 33.3% similarity likes Michigan. The top 5 matchups all like Wisconsin. The most similar, Michigan State beating Penn State 55-16 in 2015. Wow. Average margin is 8.5, and the total is 42.7. So my model, especially the KNN, really likes Wisconsin here. So I'm sure this Michigan will be a very heavy square public play on Saturday. No doubt in my mind. All right, 3 matchups left. 3 matchups left. All right. This is the only game I have. My model has Ole Miss losing as of right now. Number 2 versus number 8. This is a good matchup. Alabama's favored by 14.5. The total 79.5. That's a lot. However, unanimous Alabama over here, and unanimous Alabama if you want to lay the 625. And then over and under is Splitsville. I mean, my combo has it at 79.7. Not a lot of value there. If Ole Miss is going to win this game, their defense will have to rise to the occasion. I just don't think that will happen. Their offense will get their points, I think, but they're just not going to be able to stop Alabama enough. This will be a high-scoring game, but the total's nearly 80, so... But a 10% chance for Ole Miss on the KNN graph. Texas A&M or Auburn in 2014 is one that favors Ole Miss, although that Auburn team didn't end up being that good. Average margin is 19.1 in favor of Alabama. 79.5 is the average total, right on the dot of the actual total. So, yeah, this will be an entertaining game, but Alabama's just got too much, in my opinion. I don't think Ole Miss has the right. They're not Florida. Florida had a much better defense, which kept them in the game. So that's the issue. All right, massive matchup for Cincinnati here. They need this win if they're going to have any chance of being a playoff team. But I have them 16 spots ahead of Notre Dame in the models. So Cincinnati is favored here by 2.5. Favored in South Bend. Total's 50.5, but we're Splitsville on the spread, Splitsville on the money line, although the neural network does like Cincinnati at minus 132, and unanimous over 50.5. So one thing to note is that Notre Dame's defensive coordinator was the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati last year, so there might be some inside info. But the team's similar to Cincinnati, 63.3% chance, 9.2 is the margin. Look at this, the most similar matchup, Duke against Army in 2015, 44-3. I don't think it'll be that bad. But however, the next 5 matchups all favoring the team similar to Notre Dame. 51.7 is the total. All right, and then finally, the game of the week, although I think the clock will strike midnight for Arkansas in this one. Number 1 versus 35. So it's still not a top 25 team in my model, but this is a top 10 matchup according to the polls. Georgia's favored by a massive 18.5, and my model thinks they cover that pretty easily because it's unanimous. And unanimous over 48.5. Georgia, for those of you who missed my video yesterday, has moved into the number 1 spot in my model. Thanks to their offense and defense. I mean, they do pretty much everything well. Top 10 in every major category except offensive leverage rate. The one matchup that the team similar to Arkansas won was Charlotte over Southern Miss in 2016. However, the most similar matchup was Indiana over Georgia Southern in 2017, 52-17. That margin was 35. Double digits in all the top 7 matchups. Total 54.9, so also an over as well. All right, and those are the matchups for this week. So let's look at my official plays. Only 2 spread plays this week. Georgia Tech, 3.5 against Pitt, and Clemson minus 16 against Boston College are the only spread plays. And not a lot of totals. I had a lot of totals last week. Look at all those, which did well. I went 16 and 10. Not as many this week, but that's because the keys I picked for the total, they've gotten tighter, but also more profitable in terms of an ROI. But we got Air Force and New Mexico over, Texas Tech, West Virginia over, Old Dominion, UTEP over, and then Tulsa, Houston under, Georgia State, App State under, Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan under, Nebraska, Northwestern under. And then more money line plays this week because the money line keys have gotten a lot looser. I was keying off the neural network and combo this week, and we got Rutgers plus 495 against Ohio State, so I am on that. Colorado against USC, Arizona State against UCLA, Washington against Oregon State, Texas against TCU. Now, I know I've said I never bet against TCU, but I'm going to make an exception here. I'm just not feeling it for TCU. After that, they're going to have to prove me wrong. Tennessee plus 130 against Missouri. Georgia Tech 150 against Pittsburgh, so a lot of dogs here. Georgia State plus 310 against App State. Eastern Michigan 105 against Northern Illinois. K-State, so I'm going on K-State plus 325 against Oklahoma. Here's a favorite, Georgia Southern minus 120 against Arkansas State. UNLV, I had them last week. Can they do it this week against UT San Antonio? I don't think so, but plus 840, I think there's value. Rice minus 132 against Southern Miss. Indiana plus 385 against Penn State. I don't like that one, but I don't veto. Northwestern plus 320 against Nebraska. I do like that one after the overtime loss for Nebraska. And then LSU minus 175 against Auburn. And those are my official plays. For those of you who didn't watch the postmortem, I went plus 6.74 units last week. All right, that is week number 5 predictions. Hopefully I build on the momentum from last week. Hopefully I finally turn things around, but it's been a good past hour talking with you guys, but I'm tired. I've gotten up at 4:30 in the morning the past 2 days to go to the gym, so I'm ready to go to bed, so I'm not going to stay up much later. And it's raining. It's about time. It's about time that it starts raining. Anyway, I got a family engagement tomorrow night. My sister is in town for my niece's birthday, so we're going to go have dinner tomorrow night, and that's why I moved that to tonight. But anyway, that should wrap it up here on Sports Truth with me. So I'm going to do a Thursday Truth video. Okay, I'll do Maryland before I go, but I am going to do a Thursday Truth video this Thursday. It'll be pre-recorded. Here's Iowa and Maryland for you. And Saturday, I'm only going to probably stream the AM games, the 11 o'clock games, which includes the TCU game, but it's my niece's birthday party on Saturday, so after the TCU game, I'm going to head over there for the rest of the day. So only an 11 a.m. stream. I'm not going to watch the game with my dad, because we just don't care after the SMU game. If they can beat Texas, and maybe we'll start caring again. But that loss to SMU really destroyed. A lot of TCU fans care because we look so bad. I mean, everyone, we only lost by 8. It's not the fact that we lost; it's how we lost. If SMU had beaten us by running a bunch of trick plays and gadgets and gimmicks and that's one thing, but they beat us by just beating the physical crap out of us, and that's different. But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me here on Sports Truth. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. I will be back Thursday for Thursday Truth. Thanks, everybody.